It seems to be raining turbo petrol engines, and the latest one we've got on test is the Renault Duster. It's got a 1.3 litre direct injection turbo petrol. It comes mated to a manual gearbox and a CVT. It makes 154 horsepower. What's it like to drive? Let's find out. Right, let's start with the driving. And the first time I got into this car, I stalled it. The clutch, it's a little sensitive and you've got to be careful when you're letting it out. But after that, it hasn't stopped putting a smile on my face. This 1.3 litre turbo petrol engine is a lot of fun. It makes 154 horsepower, 254 Nm of torque. In performance, it's really good. So once you're past that initial lag, at around 2200 RPM, the turbo kicks in. And man, it just moves. It's got this really strong mid-range and you really find yourself using that the most. You don't want to rev it out to the red line in every gear. Instead, you want to shift up just enough to keep it in boost in the next gear and ride that wave of torque that comes in with the turbocharger. And while performance is great, it's also very smooth. This is a 4-cylinder, remember, so there are no annoying vibrations and annoying sounds in the cabin. It's very smooth, very refined. There's also a bit of torque steer, so when you're really gunning it, you can feel the steering wriggle in your palms a little bit. But that's part of the charm of the Duster. It's always been like that. Even with the turbo diesel that is no longer on sale, that torque steer was such an inherent characteristic of the Duster. Performance is good, but it's not as good as it can be. We tested it and we got a 0 to 100 km/h time of 11.9 seconds. And I know the Creta, the Seltos with their turbo petrol engines and their DCTs are much quicker. But I think the Duster can actually do better if the TC wasn't so aggressive. So what happens is when you launch it aggressively, the traction control kicks in as soon as the boost comes on and it bogs the car down. So it's only once you've picked up a certain amount of speed and the wheels are spinning that traction control says, yeah, do what you want, and it actually starts to move forward with some pace. So while on paper it may not look quick, if you're in third gear and you're doing say 50 km/h and you step on it, it really likes to get a move on. It feels fast. The gearbox is also worth mentioning because the 6-speed unit, it just adds to that fun factor. It's got a slightly longer gear stick than I would have liked, but apart from that, the throws themselves, they're quite short. So first gear, it's not near your passenger's knees. And moving to second, moving to third, it's all very closely spaced. So it's actually a lot of fun to roll through the gears. The shifts themselves, they're pretty smooth. They're not as slick as a Japanese gearbox, but they're still a lot of fun. Another thing that is worth mentioning is how well the pedals are spaced. So they're spaced fairly close together, and that means when you want to really go for it, you can indulge in some fancy footwork. So I actually find myself picking up speed a lot of times, shifting up just so that I can heel toe on downshifts. It's a lot of fun. Okay, the rain has really started coming down, but so yeah, the mic might pick up some of the rain on the roof. But another highlight of the Duster is its ride and handling balance. Ride quality is phenomenal. Over bad roads, you can just hammer it through without a care in the world. It deals with bad roads, potholes, broken roads really confidently. It just absorbs everything, very little gets transferred into the cabin, and it feels really robust and strong. Handling too is really good. The steering, it's got weight to it, it feels direct. The chassis responds nicely when you throw it into corners, and overall, the Duster's balance of ride and handling feels superb. It's always been a strength of the Duster. Even when we had the diesel Duster around, the ride and handling balance was always a highlight, and that remains with the new Duster, which I think is a really good thing, because when you combine that turbo petrol engine with the solid ride and handling balance of this Duster, you get a really complete package. If I had to criticize the driving experience a little bit, it is that I find it really hard to find a good driving position. The steering wheel, it's adjustable for rake but not reach, and I found it hard to find a nice driving position, and a nice driving position is so important to feeling comfortable and feeling connected to the car. Let's just step back outside and check out what's new in terms of the visuals on the Duster. Not much has changed on the way the Duster looks. So from the front, from the side, even from the rear, it looks pretty much the same. But Renault has added some red accents to spice things up. So on the grille, around the fog lamps, even on the wheels. These are 17-inch wheels, by the way. Even on the wheels, you've got these red accents. You've got them on the roof rails, and even when you come around to the back, the Duster badging over here, it's in red. Don't miss the turbo badge on the boot though. That's what sets this car apart. But otherwise, the Duster, it remains pretty much unchanged. In terms of the interiors, not much has changed. The only change of note is this new seat fabric with the stitching. But otherwise, the dashboard pretty much remains the same. To be honest, it's not very feature laden. If you look at everything around, it's pretty basic. The screen, it's straight out the Renault Kwid. You've got automatic climate control. You've also got cruise control and a speed limiter. But the buttons are on the dash. And then you've got to set them using the buttons on the steering wheel. The clocks, they're clean, they're legible. But again, there's nothing special about them. And overall, it's a pretty basic cabin. Even in terms of features, you don't get connected car features. You don't get a wireless phone charger. There's no start-stop. In terms of spaces, you've got glove box here. You've also got this little box up here. In terms of fit and finish, everything feels very solid, but I do need to mention that everything here is hard plastic. So it doesn't feel high quality, but it feels well put together. Down here, you've got two cup holders and you've got a little pocket over here. There's not much space to store your phone. So say you connect your phone in here through the USB, you find it a little hard to place. This is, like I said, the manual. So you do get the manual gearbox, a 6-speeder with the clutch pedal. So how do I sum up the Duster? It's pretty simple. If you're somebody who prioritizes the driving experience over stuff like large screens and fancy equipment and all of that, the Duster is the car to go for. It's got great ride and handling balance, it's got a fun engine, it nails the fundamentals. Yes, it's got dated interiors, the screen's old, everything around here, it doesn't feel very special. The design also, it's an old design. But it also does give you good value. This top of the line turbo petrol manual costs rupees 11.99 lakh rupees. Compare that to the most affordable turbo petrol Creta. That costs over 16 lakh rupees ex-showroom. So the Duster actually provides really good value for the sort of performance and space it's offering. The Duster, it nails the fundamentals, the important bits, the engine, the chassis, the ride quality, the handling, all of that feels really good. It feels fun. And when it comes to the thrill of driving, it nails that bit.
Subscribe to the Evo India channel and hit the bell icon to keep pace with the thrill of driving.